Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on to better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that are being done right and are done wrong. Here we go.
I'm Captain Valerie Littlejohn with the Office of Media Relations. We want to update you on an officer-involved shooting that occurred on January 24th, 2023. Just after 12:30 p.m., officers located a stolen vehicle that was taken in an armed robbery where the victims were held at gunpoint on January 22nd, 2023. The stolen vehicle was backed into a parking spot in an apartment complex in the 6000 block of Northwest 10th Street and had several people inside. When officers pulled up, 5 people fled from the vehicle.
Your call has been updated.
Officers saw several of the suspects were armed with guns. One officer deployed 2 impact rounds from a 40mm less lethal launcher toward the armed suspects as they fled.
Go here! Get in, got a gun!
Suspect Donito Patrick Jr. was apprehended in the complex after being bitten by a canine.
I don't know if he's got a gun on him or not.
Did you shoot him?
No, he's not shot.
Who shot?
I don't know, he's behind me.
Sir,
Take his hands. Take his hands.
Come here, get him.
No, silly!
Who shot?
It wasn't me.
Suspect Wallace McDonald was also apprehended a short distance away from the vehicle.
Hands on your back.
Where'd they go? Behind your back. Stand back. Where'd they go?
The other 2 suspects, Andra Butler and Jaden Kahn, continued to flee on foot through the apartment complex. Sergeant Wall saw suspect Butler at the back of the complex running toward a fence. This suspect pointed what appeared to be a gun at Sergeant Wall, who then discharged his firearm toward the suspect. The suspect was not struck by any bullets and continued to flee over the fence.
You better show me your hands right now. I ain't playing. Show me your hands. Show me them.
Okay, all right. Put your hand back there. Other hand back there, bud. Other hand back there. Josh, you good?
Suspect Butler and suspect Kahn were eventually located in a creek near the 500 block of Manchester Lane, where they were taken into custody by officers.
Hey, Heisel, will you come grab this gun? And that gun? And that gun?
Again, what the hell did I do?
3 firearms that were thrown down by the suspects were located in the area where the suspects ran. The 5th suspect was not located. Suspect Patrick was charged with unauthorized use of a motor vehicle and obstruction. Suspect Kahn was charged with unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, possession of firearm in the commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm after adjudication. Suspect Butler and suspect McDonald were both charged with unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony, and robbery by 2 or more from the armed robbery that occurred on January 22nd. No officers were injured during this incident. Sergeant Wall was placed on routine administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation.
Okay. So we don't get to see an actual shooting, but there's still some stuff to learn from this. So these dipshits here stole this vehicle from some people by gunpoint, and they ended up here at this apartment complex. Would not be surprised if they live here at this apartment complex. If it's not them living here, then it's probably one of them here is selling drugs. Would not be surprised about that either. Or they could be buying drugs, one of the 2. It's funny watching them scatter out of the vehicle. It's like seeing roaches just scatter.
Fled from the vehicle.
He about ate it.
People fled from the vehicle.
Now, the dude who stayed behind, was he in the very back of the SUV? Was he in this back seat and one of the people just crawled over him and he stayed there? What was he doing in this car? Was he sitting there with his hands up? Was he going to be the one who said, I ain't getting shot today, I'll stand here with my hands up? And then once everyone took off running, he decided, well, shit, they're gone. They're not interested in me no more. I'll beat feet. I don't know. But it's interesting that he just stayed behind while everyone else ran. And then he just kind of just got out and dipped off this way.
Your call has been updated. Your call has been updated.
So you hear what sounds like gunfire in the background, and then this little robotic voice saying your call has been updated. I believe that they use the body-worn system for body cameras, and I think that that system, on top of being able to have sensors on your holster, if you draw your gun, it can send an alert. If you start running after someone, that can make an alert to dispatch. I think if there's a gunshot noise, it makes an alert. If you go into a horizontal position, like laying down, and you stay in that position for X amount of time, it sends an alert to dispatch. So I think that's what's happening, as I think it's detected that loud noise and is sending an alert to dispatch saying, hey, possible shots fired.
Officers saw several of the suspects were armed with guns.
Armed with guns? No, not them.
One officer deployed 2 impact rounds from a 40-millimeter less lethal launcher toward the armed suspects as they fled.
So they rolled up in force here, and he's already got the launcher out. So I would say that they had known this vehicle was there, and they had formulated a plan to make the approach and do the takedown. And this guy was potentially going to be the designated less lethal guy. Obviously, their plan did not go accordingly, and these people all bailed out of the vehicle like a Chinese fire drill. They could see handguns. Personally, once there's guns out, this weapon he has becomes useless. It's not even that effective against people who are committed to fighting. It is a less lethal weapon. People have been hit with these things and they still stand and act like nothing happened. To be firing this against an armed aggressor is totally stupid. And it's a breech-loaded weapon. It is very slow to reload. As soon as the people started bailing and you could see the guns in their hands, he should have just threw that damn thing in the seat and got his pistol out. Keeping this thing out and trying to use it in this scenario is not just stupid, but it's negligent. He's put everyone else's lives at risk by trying to use this thing in this scenario.
Lethal launcher toward the armed suspects as they fled.
Go here!
He didn't got a gun, got a gun, got a gun! He didn't.
Now we see this first dude has already dropped down to the ground. And there's that gun right there. It's not too far from him. And the other one, I think, is being obscured by the sling here. Now, it's possible that he heard the firing of this less lethal launcher and thought that they were shooting guns at them. Plausible. Or he could have tripped, fell in the mud, and just knew it was up, and he wasn't going to be able to escape. Now, I'm assuming that there's officers behind this guy. And if not, then that's a grave mistake on his behalf by bypassing this dude who's already laid down on the ground and there being a gun right there. So, I mean, I 99% sure there's another officer behind him who stops to deal with this guy.
Got a gun! Got a gun! Got a gun!
He eats it too. He's lucky he didn't smack his damn head on this thing. That would have hurt like hell. Now, I'm assuming that the actual gunfire is coming from this direction over here, which is why he maybe faces this way. Not too sure why he immediately turns this direction when all the action's going on over here. We hear the noise in the background, but since we're not there, we can't tell where it's coming from. And it's possible that he can tell it's kind of coming from possibly over here.
Suspect Donito Patrick Jr. was apprehended in the complex after being bitten by a canine.
I don't know if he's got a gun on him or not. Did you shoot him? No, he's not shot. Who shot? I don't know, he's behind me. Did you shoot him? No, he's not shot. Who shot? I don't know, he's behind me. Sir, take his hands.
Like, right now is not the time to be, who shot? Did you shoot him? But, like, this motherfucker needs to be cuffed. Like, stop your fucking talking and cuff this dude up. Get him secured.
Take his hands. Come here, get him. No, silly. Who shot? It wasn't me. Huh?
Can you grab him?
No, silly. Who shot? I mean, sir, take his hands. Take his hands. Come here, get him. Who shot? I don't know, he's behind me. Sir, take his hands. Take his hands. Come here, get
I can't tell for sure, but this almost looks like a fucking ankle monitor. that would be fitting. That would be totally realistic if this is in fact an ankle monitor on his fucking ankle. Dude on the watch and still out committing crimes. Happens more than you think. If that's not an ankle monitor, I don't know what this is. I'm confident this has got to be an ankle monitor.
Get him! No, silly! Who shot? It wasn't me. Huh?
And again, like, why are you still just standing here asking who shot when this dude is on the ground unsecured? Too much fucking talking going on at this point. Like, shut up and do work.
Suspect Wallace McDonald was also apprehended a short distance away from the vehicle.
Now, he comes back to this guy up here. Okay, so timestamp of 12:50. Let's back it up a little bit more. That's 12:51. So this is actually after dude up there has been cuffed up. Okay, so the time frame matches up. So there were other people behind this officer. Okay, it's just the way they laid the video out. It made it look like this was after this happened, which it wasn't. Because this is 12:51:13. And now we're back to 1250. So yeah, I'd say once the less lethal guy went on past this guy, these two were pretty much right on this dude.
Where'd they go? Where'd they go? Behind your back. Turn back. Where'd they go?
The other two suspects, Andra Butler and Jaden Kahn, continued to flee on foot through the apartment complex. Sergeant Wall saw suspect Butler at the back of the complex running toward a fence. This suspect pointed what appeared to be...
Why was he not equipped with a body camera? I don't know. But in this day and age, I think it's incredibly stupid not to have one.
You better show me.
I mean, they help. That's all they do is they help back up what goes on.
Your hands right now. I ain't playing. Show me your hands. Show me them.
Now that would be a shitty place to be at. When dealing with people is on this little bridge where there's
was
no
not struck
cover.
by any bullets and continued to flee over the fence.
You better show me your hands right now.
It looks like that might be them down here, potentially.
I ain't playing. Show me your hands.
Yeah, it is.
Show me. You better show me your hands right now. I ain't playing. Show me your hands.
So that's a well.
Over the fence.
You better show me your hands right now.
So that's a decent distance here. And the best thing for this kind of distance is going to be a rifle. Now, rifles. This ends up being probably one of my biggest gripes, one of my chief complaints in all these videos when it comes to officer-involved shootings, is officers neglecting to get rifles out. At the beginning of this, we know that there's multiple officers coming in and dealing with this vehicle. There's multiple of them all at once from both sides. So that tells me, like I said earlier, that they knew it was there and they made a plan to go deal with it. This vehicle has people in it. They have guns. They stole it from another person. They used their guns to scare this person out of the vehicle and took this vehicle from them. They're dealing with armed criminals. That makes it a high-risk call. High-risk calls like that need to have rifles out. If you know you're going to a gunfight, bring a rifle and bring all your friends with rifles. So earlier, we should have seen everyone with rifles out. That's the best thing to bring to a gunfight. If this officer had only had a pistol and the gunfight started, he would be at a disadvantage at this range, trying to hit these people down here. Now, you can hit targets that far with a pistol. But is it likely that you're going to have a high chance, higher percentage of hitting them when you're in fear for your life? You think you're about to die? No, not necessarily. In fact, that increases your likelihood of missing. So a rifle is the best thing to have. Now, they call this a creek. Now, it's obviously not natural. It's man-made. It's some type of drainage type of thing. And there's a fence that goes, or not a fence, there's a little bridge that goes over top of it. And we see these fences right here. Now, I'm assuming there's fences on the other side. So, I don't know if these dudes got down in here and we're going to follow this thing to a certain point to get out, and in between while they're in it, there's fences all around them. There's nowhere for them to really go. And so, because of that, they decided, oh, we're done. Like, we can't go anywhere. Had the environment been different, I think they probably still would have ran. But I think they were kind of trapped, so to speak, at this point. Because there's not much to go and they got this dude and possible another officers right there on him.
I ain't playing. Show me your hands. Show me them.
Now he does. Let's see here.
Hands right now. I ain't playing. Show me your hands.
Now it looks like to me he bends over enough to prop that rifle up on the railing of this bridge to get a sturdier hold on this gun, to minimize as much movement in that gun as possible so that he is more accurate. Yeah, he's in a shitty place. He's not behind cover. He's kind of really as out in the open as they are. But he's got distance. He's got a rifle. And now he is stabilizing that rifle. His dick might be hanging out in the wind, but he still has the advantage here. He's got a rifle that's going to be more accurate than the pistols they have. And now he's made himself more accurate by bracing the rifle on this rail. Rifles alone are going to be more accurate than pistols. And the nice thing about rifles is you can brace them against objects and create another point of contact to further stabilize that rifle and reduce more movement from getting into the gun.
Show me them.
It's got to be cold. I hope life's sucking for these dumb fucks.
Okay, all right. Hand back there. Other hand back there, bud. Other hand back there.
Say it's cold.
Okay, all right. Hand back there. Other hand back there, bud.
Oh, it's cold. Yeah, it is.
Other hand back there. Josh, you good?
Suspect Butler and Suspect Khan were eventually located.
Josh, you good?
Suspect Butler and Suspect Khan were eventually located
Love it.
Josh, you good?
Suspect Butler and Suspect Khan were eventually
Yeah, look at his pants down, so you know. Oh, but they're all shriveled up.
located in a creek near the 500 block of Manchester Lane, where they were taken into custody by officers.
Hey, Heisel, will you come grab this gun? And that gun? And that gun?
Again, what the hell did I do?
3 firearms that were
That gun? And that gun?
Again, what the hell did I do?
3
What did I do? What did I do? I didn't do nothing. God, I cannot stand people like this.
And that gun? And that gun?
Again, what the hell did I do?
3 firearms that were thrown down by the suspects were located in the area where the suspects ran. The 5th suspect was not. The suspects were located in the area where the suspects.
So he might have fell. That looks like a... I don't know. It's hard to say for sure, but he might have fallen. And then they were on top of him, and he just gave up.
Suspects ran. The 5th suspect was not located.
So all these guns, I'm willing to bet they're stolen. I don't know what for sure this is, but people like this are fascinated by lasers. They call them beams. And if you watch any rap video, any current modern rap video, and they got guns, you're guaranteed to find a laser on at least one of them. They are like some other gun people, and think that if you got a laser on the gun, you're going to be more accurate. You know, where the laser is at is where the bullets hit. Well, that's a little unrealistic, in my opinion, especially when you're dealing with a handgun. The best light device to have on a handgun is a white light, a weapon-mounted light. Just having a laser alone on a gun does not make it an effective gun. It first needs to have white light. You need to have the ability to see in the dark and be able to positively identify what it is you're shooting at and whether or not it's a threat. By just shining a laser at the target, all you're doing is putting a laser on a target that you cannot see very well and be able to positively identify if it's a threat or not. All you know is there's an object there and you got your laser beam on it. What if it's not a threat and you fire? Now you've just shot someone who does not need to be shot. Another thing with these stupid ass thugs is a lot of them don't understand windage and elevation. They think if you just attach it to it, that it's automatically zeroed to the gun. They don't even some of them don't even understand the term zero. Some of them are dumber than a box of rocks. I remember talking to one dumbass. He was from Louisville, and he was talking about his peanut butter Glock. Which, when he said his peanut butter Glock, I remember thinking, "What the peanut butter? What the fuck are you talking about?" And peanut butter. It's colored like, it looks like peanut butter. The color of peanut butter. Which, it didn't help that this kid was a chubby kid. And he's fucking associating the color of his gun with food. I'm like, other people call this earth colors. Flat dark earth, brown, khaki, desert. But he calls it peanut butter. He was talking about having a laser on his gun. And he was from, dead middle of Louisville. And he's not even 18. He's like 14 or 15 or something like that. And I remember asking him, well, where'd you go zero this thing at? Because he had talked about he stole the gun from a friend's house, I think he said. And then he bought the laser. And so I'm thinking in my head, where the hell is this 14-year-old, 15, I can't remember how old he was. I don't think he was 16. I just remember thinking to myself, where the hell is this stupid-ass little 14-year-old thug going to go to zero in his gun? Like, is his parents, or no, not his parents, his granny, because he was living with his granny. I said, is his granny taking him to the shooting range so he can zero this thing? I highly doubt that. Does that mean he's just fucking shooting this thing out in an alley somewhere? So I asked him, I said, where'd you go zero that thing at? And he looked at me like I was crazy. What do you mean zero? I said, where did you go sight this thing at? What do you mean sight it? I was like, where did you go adjust the sights on it? Like, you have to adjust the laser on there. He had no idea what I was talking about. So he thought, but just by taking this fucking laser device and attaching it to the gun, that it was automatically gonna, be true zero or whatever. He had no concept of anything like that. And so there's no telling how many others are like that. They think if you just put it on there, boom, it's just gonna work, right? They don't understand you gotta turn these little, screws on there to get it zeroed in. Anyway, I would say this is probably a laser. It could have a weapon-mounted light built into it, but most likely a laser. Because, like I said, they're all fascinated by the lasers. This looks like potentially, it looks like a magnetic charging port on here. And I can't see the name brand on the side. It's obviously nothing any professionals would use. But we do see what looks like some hollow points in here. So I would say that most likely this was a gun that someone had and they kept it in their car, and then boom, it got stolen. Which is how a lot of guns get stolen, is they get stolen out of cars. Same with this. This was most likely in someone's car, and it has hollow points. Most likely in someone's car, it got stolen. Putting stickers on magazines and guns. This is something I've seen. Some of them do. I don't. I mean, I guess they want to, tinker with their guns and do stupid shit like other regular gun people do. I don't see the point in, putting stuff on the magazine when the magazine is going to be inside the gun itself, and you can't see it. Not to say that I don't think it's a bad idea to put, a sticker on there if you're doing training. Say you got a Glock pistol and you go to a class somewhere, and you're going to do magazine reloads, and you're going to drop your magazine to the ground. Well, if you're in a class, most likely a bunch of other people are going to have Glocks too. So all your damn Glock mags are going to look the same. So yeah, I would support the idea of putting stickers on your magazines for that purpose, to easily identify your training magazines. That way you know which one is yours. And a numbering system on top of that. So I like the numbering system. So mag, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That way, if you come across a problem with one magazine, let's say it's number 4. Well, you can remember that from that day and like, all right, I need to take magazine number 4, take it out of rotation, and just make it a training mag only. That way you can keep track of which mags stay specifically just for training only, and all other mags, even if you do use them in training, those other mags that have not been identified as being really faulty, you can still use those for, social occasions. And ones that are faulty, you can even mark those in some way to know that, hey, this is a bad mag. Like, it don't feed very well, but still keep it for training. Because if it induces a malfunction, great. That's good for training. You get to have a malfunction that you did not set up. It comes as a surprise. If it causes a stovepipe, or it just doesn't feed correctly and you get type 1 malfunction, or even if you get type 3 malfunction, great. It happens, boom, in the wild. You don't set it up. When we do training in firearms and we train to practice malfunctions, we have to set those up. We have to intentionally load the gun, load the gun with either a dummy round, put a dummy round in the magazine and rack the slide, and boom, now we start off with, a round that's not going to go off, or we just do the gun where it's not even loaded to begin with. We have to set that up. Or we take an empty casing, pull the slide back just a little bit, put that empty casing in the ejection port, and then let the slide go forward to replicate a stovepipe. Or if we want to do a double feed, we drop a round into the breech and then insert magazine and drop the slide to replicate a double feed. Sure, it's great to be able to do that and practice that when you do it for those things, but unless those things come up suddenly without your knowledge, it's not as good. So when you have the opportunity to have crappy magazines or even have crap ammo for training, then that's good, because you can have malfunctions. And when they happen suddenly without you knowing it's going to happen, it makes for a better training value, in my opinion. So this dude looks like he took a sticker off of his liquor bottle and put it on his gun. What an idiot. Some cognac. Yeah, bro. Fucking tools.
Motor vehicle, possession of firearm in the commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm after adjudication. Suspect Butler and Suspect McDonald were both charged with unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony, and robbery by two or more from the armed robbery that occurred on January 22nd in the commission of a.
And this one has hollow points as well. It's possible that they bought the hollow points themselves. Kind of doubt it. I'd say these probably came with the guns. And again, like I said, most of the time these guns are stolen from vehicles. Now, this is a Springfield gun. It being all muddy and everything, I kind of really want to know if this thing would work or not. If it was a Glock, I know it would work. Alright, not much else to say on this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching.